We know, like us, our listeners spend countless hours every week taking care of loved ones. But most probably don't have an estate plan. Sampson McPhee lawyers can help.
Estate planning allows you to make the big decisions now, like who will take care of your kids if you pass away, and allows you to control how your assets will be distributed and managed.
Estate planning is extra important for parents, common law partners, and people with blended families.
Call Kelly at Sampson McPhee at 902-563-5906 to find out about special pricing for our listeners.
Hi, Jess.
Hi, Sarah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, honey.
How are you feeling?
I feel good. I had an actually great day.
Good.
Yeah.
The sun is shining. Bridgerton came out today. It's like the gifts keep rolling in.
What more could I ask for?
I know.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I started my day with a walk.
I saw that.
Who am I? It was actually really nice,
Are
though.
you? I was so proud that I also giggled to myself. I'm like, is this 34? She started it off on the right foot.
And Daniel's
I'm
like...
not making fun. I'm in support. I just
Daniel's
wondered.
like, should I be worried? He's like, you're working out an awful lot lately. Like, are you planning on leaving me? And I'm like, no, I just really want to take care of myself.
Good.
Is that okay?
Good for you. Are you a walker in the past? Like, do you like going for walks?
I typically don't like exercise in general. But I have found that like putting on the headphones and like blasting some fun tunes and just like, I enjoy walking around outside more than I do with the treadmill.
Yes,
because I can see like the end goal.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like you're halfway there, you're almost home. Like couple more steps.
Right.
Then I can like look around and snoop around. But generally speaking, I'm not like, no.
But you're doing it.
I'm doing it.
Yeah. Like it's your preferred method of exercise is walking. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
If I'm going to have to do something.
Good for you.
It might
Moving
as well
your body makes you feel good. Starts your day off right.
Because I mean,
do you like to walk?
Nothing humbles you more or puts a fire under your arse than trying on your bathing suits for the summertime. Just like, oh my God, you got to get moving.
Tis the season.
You got to get moving.
Every body is beautiful, Jess. Bathing suits are made to fit your body. Your body's not made to fit in the suit, sister. Okay. You got it.
Yeah, so
it's
day was
a good way to start 34.
Yeah. This is my first iced chai latte.
What do you think about
iced tea chai latte?
No, not iced tea, just iced chai.
Iced chai.
Yeah.
It's very milky. Like it just tastes like kind of just tastes like a milkshake. Like a cinnamon flavored milkshake.
Right. Right.
Are you getting the same flavors or?
I like an iced chai.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. Do you drink chai tea regularly?
No.
But
I did want something cold.
Yeah.
So this did. And like the lemonade. I don't love sour stuff.
Yeah, we're so different.
I know.
It's crazy. I like your shirt.
I like your shirt.
We weren't talking before we met up today, but we are wearing the same outfit. Not the first time this has happened to us, really, but here we are. I actually think that was your birthday gift last year.
It was. Yeah. But that's funny.
Yeah, it is.
And they were wearing it today. Yeah. What did you buy me this year?
Can't tell you. You have to wait. I don't know if anyone listening knows this. You should if you've listened to us before, but Jess doesn't love surprises. Well, she loves surprises as long as she can be in on them and get the gifts right away. Like she has no patience in wanting to wait for something.
I got my birthday gift from Daniel like weeks ago.
Yeah,
whenever it arrived.
Funny.
I know. That's just
what was it?
It's a Shark, not the styler,
right?
But it's just like the blow dry brush.
Okay.
And there's two options on it, so you can blow dry, like from wet, or you can put it on dry mode and just like restyle your hair because there's like plates in it that heat up. So it just like smooths out your hair.
Like once it's already dry.
Yeah.
Nice.
So like say if it's like day 2 hair and you just want to like, because if you use a straightener to restyle, it's kind of like you're losing the oomph.
Right.
But this you can still like get the like blowed out look.
Your hair's been looking great.
Thanks.
Yeah, I love it. Is it easy to use?
The one I originally had, I think was from Maritime Beauty, like the original blow dry brush that burnt, like that died on me because I didn't properly take care of it. Like clean it. That one was my favorite one. I had the Revlon one. Now I'm trying this one. I'm just trying to get you, because where I said it has the plates in it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get used to that. It's a little bit heavy.
Okay.
But I feel like it's like anything, any new straightener, like you have to get used to how it
It would be comical. I've tried to use like the Dyson Airwrap that my friend has once we were on a girls' weekend or whatever, and it is comical to try and watch me use that.
Oh, really?
I'm like, kudos to anyone
that looks
who can
hard
use
to
it.
use.
And it's like she made it look so simple. So I was like, yeah, I'll try that. I was like, what the F is happening to me right now? I could not figure out the direction or the way to go or how to. Anyway.
I've never used one, but that seems like too much work to have to switch out the
direction.
Like, no.
I just use my straightener to curl my hair.
Yeah,
Like,
I do
don't know how
too.
to do it any
I
other
do
way.
too.
Here we are. Are you excited about Bridgerton? Are you going to get into that?
I already
later?
started watching it.
You did?
I watched the first episode.
Don't tell me.
It's good.
Is it good?
It is. But I will say this. It's not a spoiler. It's something that I'm foreseeing.
Okay. It's your guess? Like,
it's my guess.
Okay. Your prediction?
So, like, you know how it was made out to be like Penelope like was falling all over Colin, like Colin obsessed, and like her life goal would be to like be with him forever.
Right.
I hope this is what happens, because it's my prediction, that she doesn't actually marry him.
What?
My prediction is that she stays true to Lady Whistledown and chooses that path and chooses not to marry him because she can't have both. And I think she'll be like,
in me is like, no, her and Colin.
No.
Because he's been in love with her this whole time. And he just didn't realize it right away.
But I feel like in like typical like romance, it's like the woman falls all over the man,
right.
like gets her dream, whatever.
Right.
But like with in Bridgerton lifestyle, you don't have both. Like, you marry the husband,
right,
and your job is to just be the wife.
Maybe she'll tell him about Whistledown and he'll support the endeavor.
Do you think she can do both?
He's going to be pissed because of like what it said.
But
about
you don't
him
think
before.
this will be like something that like is going to be like, oh, like, yes, Penelope, like,
I would love that for her, but the era it's in, I don't know if that's what's going to happen.
What I'm saying. The point of like, this would be the shocker of like this. She's choosing herself over.
I kind of want to go read the book now.
Society is saying she needs to do, which is marry, and make babies.
Right. I kind of want to.
That's just my prediction.
Or maybe she'll be the one who does both. Like maybe she won't.
Either
choose,
way,
you know?
But that's.
Oh, now I'm interested. I got to go home and watch it all. Mm-hmm. Can't wait. I put a poll up to see who else was excited about Bridgerton today. And we were talking about some favorite seasons. So there's been some mixed reviews. Some people say season 1, obviously. Some people say Queen Charlotte. Some people say
Queen Charlotte, 1000%.
Season 3, part 1 so far has been someone's favorite one. Which one's yours? Queen Charlotte?
Queen Charlotte.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I loved season 2.
With Anthony?
Yeah. The glow up Anthony went through from season 1 to season 2.
Yeah.
That was something.
I don't know. It's so weird how Bridgerton is, because it's like the not what's the word of like the build up of like Daphne and
the Duke
was so prolonged and whatever, and they got together at the very end of the season.
Right.
Season 2, it was Anthony and Kate, and it was like all the build up all along, and then they finally got together at the end of the season.
Right.
Then season 3 comes along, and Penelope and Colin are like together in like episode 3, and I'm like, okay, no, like I wanted this build up to be way longer.
But what's going to happen in the second half?
I know,
that's the thing.
but it's
You're
just,
right.
like,
something's going to happen.
So
I was reading something the other day that said like book 1, well, I don't know if they're following the books, but like season 1 was you know, they didn't like each other, they faked the relationship, and then they ended up falling in love. It's like the classic tales. And then the second one was like enemies turned to lovers, and then the third one was best friends turned to lovers. Like how these things happen in life in weird ways, you know what I mean, like in different relationships. So we'll see But they skipped over, it was supposed to be the other brother, the other Bridgerton. Like book 3 is the other, I think. So they skipped over that book and went to the Colin and Penelope one instead. Marrying Mr. Bridgerton is the book, I think. Oh, spoiler. Maybe that tells us what happens.
I still don't think she marries him. I'm calling it.
That might not even be the title of the book. I don't know. So don't quote me on that. Another fun thing we did is you posted a little Padlet lately. We're going to get some audience, some listener thoughts on the pod today. We should have said, I guess, from the outset is that this is a S&J session for season 4, the first one for season 4. If you're new to the morning meeting, Jess and I like to sit down with ourselves every so often and just chat, shoot the breeze. And yeah, so today is going to be our first S&J session of season 4. We're going to chat really about what's been going on in our lives, whatever comes to our brain, whatever topics the listeners put in. We'll just see where the conversation goes. No real plan, which is always a little scary.
I love it though, because this is, I feel like we always enjoy these sessions so much because it's a chance for us to just talk, because these are things that we would talk about anyway.
And this is how the podcast started, really.
And it's uninterrupted.
Yeah.
You know? Like if we hop on a call, it's like if it's on the way to pick someone up at daycare, or it's on the way to a meeting or on the way to work.
Yeah.
This is like dedicated time for us and it's like, it's therapy for me.
Yeah.
It feels so good after it.
It does.
It's
true.
my birthday. So
it's
I feel
your
like
birthday. How do you feel about birthdays? Are you a big birthday gal?
I love birthdays. I think everyone should celebrate
Me too.
being alive and having the opportunity to be here on earth, because not everyone gets that. Mm-hmm. And so I think that if you're here, you should celebrate your trip.
When it comes to aging, how do you feel?
Well, you can't control it.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
I can't. I feel like I feel like very fulfilled.
Yeah.
I feel like I've accomplished a lot, and I feel good.
Good.
I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything.
34 today, we said?
34, yeah.
34. Mm-hmm. Trying to think of 34.
It was just last year.
No, 2 years ago for me. Was that
twins?
Was I was going to say, was I having a baby? But no,
the twins were two.
Yeah, so pretty much life was
chaos.
Similar chaos. I like to say growing old is a privilege denied to many. Like, I think
Absolutely.
I know everyone has their feels about aging and what that brings, and society tells us all kinds of things about it. But I really do feel like it is a privilege denied to many, and we're lucky to grow older, and each year brings some new things. And I don't know about you, but like, I'm loving my 30s, I think, more so than I have previous decades. And I think it just keeps getting
the 20s
better.
God, like, I know we all have to go through them, but like, I would never want to do that ever again.
No, me neither. Some years maybe, but
no,
really.
I mean, got pregnant when I was 28, so that's okay. But like, got back together with Daniel when I was like 23,
right?
Ish.
Yeah.
So I guess my 20s weren't that bad then,
right?
The first few years were
feels like a long time. Those first few years, though, probably.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
The first 3 years felt like 10 years.
Yeah. It's chaos.
So I guess my 20s weren't that bad if I think about it.
There's a lot going on there.
But yeah.
It's fun. I mean, I think it all serves a purpose, right? Like, it leads you to
100%
where we are now. I think like every kind of person you meet or experience you have kind of sets you up for the next one or next thing, or moves you forward in some way.
And I know that we've talked about this before. I don't know if we talked about it on here, but I know you and I have talked about it, how like people come into your life for a reason, and I've always believed that it's either for them to help me or for me to help them.
100%.
So I've never like regretted anything. I just wouldn't want to like relive it.
No, that's
but I don't regret any of the encounters I've had or the friendships I've had that I no longer have, or the people I dated or whatever. Like, I feel like it definitely either I helped them or they helped me in some way. So it was purposeful.
Yeah, serendipity.
Regardless.
100%.
But I'm like,
what's that quote?
God,
like,
it worked out this way.
A season, a reason, or what's the third thing? You know, someone comes into your life for a season or reason, and there's a third one to that, but I don't remember what it is. But it makes sense. It's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Interesting you say that about friendships, though, because some of the Padlet topics are around friendships.
Yeah, let's get into the Padlet.
Let's get into it.
For those who don't know, let's get into it. For those who don't know what a Padlet is, it's basically just a website, like a platform, I guess we would call it, where you can go on and post things anonymously. So we use it in my BSW program, and if we're having discussion questions, or if people, you know how sometimes like some people in class are like nervous to speak out, but they still have a voice and they want to be heard. So this way here you can post and nobody knows what you say. And
so it's awesome.
Like, it's fun.
It's a great tool. It's great to use in, I've used it in different workshops too, where maybe like people work together and they don't want to say something that will offend or hurt their progression in some way or et cetera. So this kind of gives everyone the same opportunity. Use it in class a lot. Same reason that you're saying is like just to allow students. Some students too can write out, like there's various types of learning, right? Communication tools of like, they feel better writing it out than they do verbalizing it or getting it out there.
Definitely.
So yeah, it's an awesome tool. It was a good idea. You had an idea to kind of do this for this episode, so I'm excited to get into it. Should we jump right in?
Yeah. Where's the friendship one?
So this one says how hard friendship breakups are. So basically what the Padlet said, the prompt that we sent to people were, what's something you have always wanted to say to someone, or something that you've always wanted to tell someone but you felt you couldn't. So this one is like how hard friendship breakups are. We don't always talk about that. And another one that probably goes with it is not letting a friend know how much our friendship breakup hurt me.
Yeah.
I wonder if those people know each
I
other.
wonder. And it's so interesting because it's like, I would love to know the context of that. Like, was this a natural progression that just like happened, that like all of a sudden you just
grew
your
apart.
circumstance, you grew apart. But this, I don't think this seems like it was like a solid breakup.
Right.
I don't know if I've ever had that happen. Have you? Like a friendship breakup?
Like a falling out has led to like a
like
friendship
a falling
breakup?
out, maybe, yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think I've definitely had like bumps in the road with people, but I think we all still have like a friendship. I'm trying to think of like...
Me too.
Yeah.
I definitely grew apart from people.
Yeah.
And if I was to talk to those people today, I'd be like, well, this is the reason why we're no longer friends. Like, it's no ill will on anyone's part. It's just life circumstances changed, our interests changed, I don't know. Friendship
is a form of intimacy too, right? Like, sometimes we think of intimacy as, we think of that as like our romantic partnerships, but being friends with someone is like a very intimate experience that you're sharing, especially there's different levels of like closeness in those friendships. But I think sometimes we don't often talk about friendship breakups or friendship like ups and downs like we do in a relationship, where like you can grow apart and grow together, and sometimes you are in different stages of your life, and I think that impacts those relationships in some way. If like, you don't always understand where the other person's at, or you feel like you have more time or energy to give than the other person. And then there's certain friendships where like you may not see a person or talk to them every single day, but the moment you see them, you pick up where you left off.
Absolutely.
And then there's some people who you might not see in a long time, and you see each other, and you don't pick up where you left off. Like, things have changed, or like you have grown in different directions, or you do share different interests. So I do think it's like so layered and complicated, but it is something that we don't overly talk about. I will say this. I wonder though, this friendship breakup, if like you think it's like a breakup forever kind of thing, where maybe if they're wondering if you reached out, or if you reached out, what would happen? Like, would you develop a relationship, maybe not as close as before, or maybe it looks a little different?
Yeah.
And we grow up, and I think we become friends by circumstance, like who's in your class when you're little, or who lives in your neighborhood, or who your parents' friends are. Like, I think of Logan and the boys, like they're friends because we force them to be friends, really, right? I mean, they get along great.
Adult relationships are by choice.
Right. And then like as you go through that schooling for X amount, it's so much of your life, like you maintain those relationships. Maybe. Yeah. You join sport teams, or you join hobbies, or you do different extracurriculars, and that brings about different networks. And then those friendships kind of grow from there. And then, you meet like new people in your adult life.
Look at us.
Yeah. And you click with people right away. And
so interesting to think about.
And I think like we talk about making friends can be difficult when you're older, but I also think in a way it can be more simple, because you click or you don't. And like, you have time for that, or you don't, and you you don't have to worry about it as much. But it is hard. I think we should do a whole episode on friendships, really. We've had some listeners kind of talk about that, put in some question box that we've had over the last few months about that too, how we should talk about friendships and like how to approach that when maybe someone is drifting away from the group and you don't want them to, or you want to know why, or if it's something you did or they did, or what they need. And I've been really lucky. Like, I've had a core group of gals for a really long time, and like they're my family.
I think you guys are known for that too.
Yeah.
Like the essay girls or something.
Yeah.
Like
the essay ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been friends for a long time. Like 25 years.
I used to think like when I didn't know you, like, how do you keep track of all those people?
People ask us that all the time. They're like, do you guys really like each other? I'm like, yes. I mean, there's days that we probably don't like each other. We always love each other. Yeah. And I've talked about this before. I feel like that about
Daniel all the time.
Yeah.
I love you, but I don't like you.
Yeah. Today. It's really funny to see our like wedding pictures every time someone gets married, for example. We're like in this big group, or like our prom photo, like looking back on all of that, how many of us are in that prom photo. And like now when we get together, we try and get together with our families or our group as much as we can, once a year in the summer, for example. And like last year, I think there was 42 of us, because
that is crazy.
Now there's 4 more added to that since just last summer. God. 4 babies. So yeah. So you're
gonna have to rent a bigger spot.
I know, it's fun to get together, but I think it's like, it takes work sometimes, right? And I think we are all very different. Like, some of us are very similar, some of us are very different, but we've been friends for so long that we just know, like, it's kind of like, you can be really different from your siblings, but like you're always going to love them and support them and want the best for them. And we do talk every single day, not always all the time, all of us, but we have like a group chat and we all talk in it mostly every day, some of us more than others, and we stay connected that way, but it takes work, right? Sometimes.
And I think too that like what people I don't think understand, maybe this isn't the right way of saying it, but like maybe are aware of that sometimes you're giving more to a friendship than others.
Yeah.
So like sometimes you're giving a lot and then sometimes you don't have anything to give, but then the other person is giving when you get, you know what I mean?
Yes.
There's give and take with relationships. And I think when there's fallouts, it's because someone is always taking and not doing enough giving in a relationship, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does 100%. And I think that reciprocity is so important in every relationship. And it comes down to the communication. Like if you're not talking about that with someone else, you're not saying like, look, I feel like I'm always reaching out to you or asking you to hang out or checking in. And if I don't do that, we don't talk.
Right.
And that can be hard.
Yep.
But it's not necessarily a personal thing, right? That other person may feel overloaded or not realize or don't have the capacity to reach out or whatever,
or they're connecting with someone else that really needs them right now. Like there's so many.
It's not always about us, right? Like but if we talk about that, it may prevent that. Not sometimes you just, it's time to kind of part ways, for sure. And you have care and concern for those people, but it's just not, you know, it's different. It grows and it changes. I will say with our friend group, I think we're really unique because we went through like some really unique experiences in our late teens, early 20s that bonded us really closely. And like we lost a few close friends. And I think we were like taught in a really awful way, but we realized like how important our friendships were. And like when you experience those things together, I think it bonds you in a way that like it's just a different way of bonding, right? That you're kind of, those shared experiences are so transformative in your life. And this group has done that with you and they've seen you through like your highest and your lowest. And they've been the ones that have put you in your place a lot or like, you know, told you when you weren't being the best person or supported you in your crazy ideas or whatever it is. Like we're all living different lives. Yeah. And I think some of us can support people in different ways and you know who to go to for certain types of support, right?
Yeah,
we've talked about that before. Like, you know, the friend to call if you want like advice, you know, the friend who call if you just want to like
dish.
Or like you just want someone to be like, you're right, no matter what. Right. So yeah, I think friendships can be really complicated, but I do think it comes down to like just reaching out and being vulnerable and communicate and say like, I'm sad or I miss you. Like sometimes all it takes is like, hey, I miss you. Knowing that might be ignored or it might say like, oh, I hope you're doing well, but I don't have time for this right now or I don't have the energy to give, or maybe it's I miss you too. And then you go from there, right? Yeah, it's hard.
Another one that really resonated with me is someone wrote, instead of taking a stance on something, I will often just agree with what someone says because I am a people pleaser and want everyone to like me.
Oh, yeah.
If that is not me.
I was just going to say, did you write that?
That is not me.
Did you write that? Was it you? Yeah. What do you think about that? Why do you do that, do you think?
I think it's because I'm learning, actually, since I've been in this program, I have been learning not to do that.
Right.
Because I've realized that there's professional and positive and respectful ways to go about taking a stance on something.
Yes.
Without like ruining a relationship or.
Right.
But like sometimes it's just easy to keep the peace and like not ruffle feathers because that can be exhausting too. But like it's not, what is that saying about me if I don't stand up for something I believe in?
I also
think, like stopping gossip. Like, go ahead.
No, sorry, I interrupted you.
It's okay.
I think it's like the reframing of it too, right? Like it doesn't have to be like don't want to ruffle feathers and just keep the peace. Like those aren't the two ends of the spectrum. Like it can be you can share your opinion without wanting to ruffle feathers. Like it comes down to that context of like, that's a really interesting opinion. Here's mine. It's different. Cool. Yeah. Like, you know, but it is hard.
It is. Hard. Yeah. And especially with gossip, because like, say if there's gossip going around, like there's people who are really good at saying like, you know, I don't like, you guys do your thing. Like, I'm just going to step away from this conversation just because I really like that person and I don't want to be involved. I feel like something like that's easier, but it's also just like, like I'm here. I don't know how to get away.
Right.
Like, and I don't know, like gossip, like is one of those things, like it's almost like a connector.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's Brene Brown that talks about it as social currency.
Right.
That like people will use it.
Right.
To get in.
Yeah, of course.
Like it's that way to like get in and connect.
What do you know?
Like,
yeah.
What do you, like, this is so interesting. Like what does someone actually get out of gossip other than
being in the know? Like we like to be the ones who know something. Like we like to be like, did you hear? And when someone's like, no, we're like, oh, like we want to tell that, right?
Yeah.
So it is, but I think we do that to mask like having to talk about other real stuff sometimes, right? Like,
because like I've had situations where I've been like, I've had to like unfollow people on Instagram, whatever, because I found myself talking about them. I'm like, why am I? This is not serving anybody any purpose.
Yeah.
It's not serving me any purpose. It's not serving that person. Like, so if I'm going to talk about them, like I'm just gonna put them out of my sight because I don't want to do this anymore. Like this is getting to be
it's good awareness on your part.
Way too much. Do you know what I mean? But like. And I say that about us all the time. Like if we're putting ourselves out there, we're putting ourselves out there for people to talk about us. Yeah. Which is okay. Everyone, that's right. It is
entitled to your opinion. Yeah.
But yeah, interesting.
It's funny though, right? Like sometimes those parasocial relationships where like we think we know, we do this with celebrities a lot too. Like we think we know these people so well because we form these relationships online, but they're one-sided. So like even people who may feel like they know us because we're pretty, like we talk about a lot, we're pretty vulnerable on here. You don't know everything though, right? Like you don't know me fully. You don't know you fully. So we do have to remind ourselves of that sometimes. Like what we see in people's stories or what we see their experiences looking like that's only a little bit of the whole thing, right?
Absolutely.
Like that highlight reel of it. It's funny you went there with that, like the gossip piece. When I read that, I thought just in general, like maybe they don't often share their opinion on whatever it is. I was going to say politics. That's not necessarily what I mean, but like whatever's happening around them in their world, like they just don't give that other side of, they don't give their opinion if it's different than what the conversation's around because they just don't want to be seen as different from the group or be outcasted for that. Or
I see it as that too.
Yeah. It's funny that we should be more accepting of the people that think differently than us.
People aren't
so much from that. I know
people aren't, and so I think that's why it's so hard to take a stance because people are so rigid in their way of thinking, and they're one-sided and they're not open-minded. That when someone takes a stance on their opinion, it's seen as it's met with like
we feel it's attacking us. Like if it's different than us, then that means we're wrong. But we could just both
we
be
learn
right
the
or
most.
whatever.
Like this is why I love working in a team because I'm like, oh, I have my ideas, but then like look at everybody else's. Like what can I learn from them? Right. Like when you're working by yourself, you just have yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's not enough.
Yeah.
Like, we need,
we can't do these things alone.
But not everyone has that opinion. So yeah,
it's true. I wonder if I just lost my train of thought on that. I wonder too if it becomes about context here. Like I do think sometimes keeping the peace is probably just that's what's worth your energy at that moment. You know what I mean? I think sometimes you're like, I could insert my thoughts here, but like there's no point. So I'm going to save my breath. And I think sometimes it's okay to do that. But I think if you're always sacrificing your opinion or your thought process for other people's, that's when you need to start being like, okay, maybe I should share a little bit more about myself. Or
the other side of it though is that, which I'm learning, like just reading different articles and stuff, is that say if you're at the dinner table, and say just like topic of racism comes up, and you don't say anything because you're like, oh, like I'm not getting into that, like I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. But then like silence is violence. Yes, it's just as you're being, it's no better than to sit there and not say anything.
Right. You're a bystander.
So it's,
I think there's moments where like it's all in the approach, right? Or the communication about that. Like, do I want to embarrass my grandmother, God rest her soul, if she says something out of place at the table? No, but maybe later I do have a conversation with why that's important. Or I talk to my family members who were in that conversation to say like, like it's all, I think, in the approach of how we communicate through some of that. But it can be hard because sometimes those ideas or beliefs or opinions are like so tied to people's identity, and people have ego involvement, right? Like I was talking with a group about this last week that, okay, let's say like you considered yourself a really honest person. Yeah. And that was your identity was attached to that. And someone questioned your honesty. Like you would be defensive in that because you're so closely tied to that in your identity. You're like, how dare you? Like you're questioning who I am. Right. and we become defensive on that, right? But let's say this isn't true, but this is the example I always give, so don't take this, don't be a defensive listener,
okay.
don't take this personal. But if you weren't someone who like considered yourself stylish or put a lot of effort or care into what you wear, let's say, and someone commented on your outfit, you probably wouldn't be upset. Like you probably would be like, oh yeah, I know, like whatever, because your identity isn't tied to that. You know what I mean? Or like you're cooking. Let's say someone was like, this isn't great, and you're like, oh yeah, I know I suck at cooking. Like you can laugh that off because your identity isn't tied to being a good cook, right? So it really does come down to ego involvement sometimes. Like if people are getting upset about what you're talking about, it's like, okay, wait, is this a me thing or them? Like, is my identity tied to this topic so tightly that I feel the need to be defensive about it or protect it, or not? Right?
I read something the other day about I think it was a teacher teaching her students about maybe bullying or like talking down to others or whatever. And the teacher was telling the students that if the person can't fix the problem in 30 seconds or less, don't mention it or don't say something to them about it. So it's like, oh, like you have a piece of broccoli in your teeth.
Right.
Someone can fix that in under 30 seconds.
Gotcha.
If your shoelace is untied, or you have a leaf in your hair, or you need to blow your nose. Like there's boogers everywhere.
I'm like, do I need to do all those things?
Right?
Or something in my teeth? Do I have to blow
Whereas
my
like
nose?
if you say to someone like, your hair color is really faded, or your shirt is really wrinkled.
Yeah, like why is that helpful?
I'm trying to think of like...
Yeah, no, I get it.
Whatever. But I found that so interesting. How true is that?
Yeah.
It's not helpful to the person.
Yeah.
They can't fix it.
Right.
So why say it?
Right. Right.
The more you know.
The more you know. Knowledge is
so
power.
we need to teach our children that rule.
I agree. I'm laughing at our hand talking because usually it doesn't matter because it's just audio. And now I'm like, what does this look like? I'm like,
oh, it looks terrible.
Just roll with it. Here we
I've been watching the episodes and it's embarrassing.
We're all hand talkers. Okay, I think this one's interesting. Kind of talks to friends. Two here, but one is, why do I not fit in a group? I just float. And this hit home to me, and I know it's gonna maybe sound a little, oh, your face, so interesting.
This hit home to you?
Yeah, I felt this way in my life a lot, actually. And I think, and which I know is funny to say because we just talked about like that core friend group that we've always had, but I have sometimes definitely felt like kind of an outcast or a floater or on the outside of that group. But I know now that that's my own, I either did it to myself, A, like in my younger years, or B, it's my own mind. Like it's the story my mind is telling myself. It's my anxiety or my, neurodivergence in whatever way, but it's not necessarily how they're treating me. It's my perception of myself. But that took a long time to get there. And I wanted to share that because when I read that, my heart sank and being like, oh, interesting. Like, is this a story they're telling themselves, or is this true?
Oh, right.
And I think one piece of advice I would give, not knowing the context of it at all, is like, do you not fit in, or do you feel like you don't fit in? And sometimes what happens is those stories you tell yourself, you communicate through that, right? So your perception of that impacts your communication. So if you feel like you're not fitting in, or you're kind of a floater, like you may not be investing in relationships in the same way because you might feel like, what's the point? Or check your reciprocity. So what you talked about before, like, reach out to people, like even if it's uncomfortable or you feel like it might not land, like start doing that and see if that shifts, if that changes, right? So like maybe you're not on the outside, maybe you've never accepted the invitation to like be on the inside, you know what I mean? Because your brain is making you think it's imposter syndrome in friendship, like you feel like they don't feel that way or whatever. So I just think that. And the other thing is to reevaluate sometimes, like if you feel that way because of some of the conversations you've been part of, or you feel like maybe people are talking about it when you're not there, whatever the case is, it's like, again, direct is kind. Either talk about it or reevaluate, like if it's worth the friendship with that person or those people. Like maybe you feel like you're on the outside because your values don't align or something's misaligned there. But I would start with yourself, like look inward and just think not that I'm an expert in that, but just from my own experience, like I do think
that's so interesting to me. I would have never thought that.
Oh yeah. Have you ever felt that way?
No.
Oh.
I don't think so. Cause I feel like I've had really good relationships. They've been different.
Yep.
Throughout my life, but I've at least had someone that I could always rely on. Yeah. That I was always like,
there. Yeah, I have too. But sometimes I've questioned, like, I don't know if I'm worthy of that or if they're just doing it to be nice or whatever. I feel like
if I didn't fit in, I would just move on.
Right.
Like that's just my personality. Like I don't take offense to stuff like that. Like it's not like, it's same with like dating when we're younger. Like if a guy doesn't like you back or a girl doesn't like you back, like I don't like other people back either. Like it's not like you know what I mean? Like you can't like everyone. You can't be attracted to everybody. Like that's not a thing. People have types. So it's like friendships too. Like I don't know, if it just didn't jam, I would just move on. Like no offense taken. I wouldn't waste time on it. I just I don't know.
Yeah, good for you, girl. Get it. Yeah. That's awareness. Well, that brings us to our next question or our next prompt. When you're back in the dating world and you feel like you're falling for someone and expressing that, but they don't seem like they're catching on.
Go. Run.
Run, don't walk. I think we have to trust.
If someone likes you, they will let you know.
Yes, exactly.
And we don't even have to go any further than that.
I know.
If someone likes you, they will let you know. The end.
With the caveat. With the caveat that your communication styles might be different. So maybe they are telling you without their words. Like maybe they're showing up, or maybe they're checking in, or maybe they're wanting to hang out or whatever, but you're waiting for the words of affirmation. Okay. Like, you know what I mean?
Fair.
Like, so just double check that. But I agree with you. I mean, if people want to be with you, they'll be with you. If they want to show up, they'll show up. If they want you to know they like you, they'll tell you.
And if they don't, they won't.
And if they don't, they won't. Yeah. And that's not a reflection
as it is. It's again, if you just recognize that,
it's not a reflection.
Don't take offense to it. Just move on.
Yeah. But I don't envy being back in the dating world. Like, I think it's hard. God. I think it's hard because of like the different ways we communicate now, like the different technologies or mediums that we communicate through. Like, you like a picture, you Snapchat, whatever it is, you text, you call. What's the timing? Like, I just think those rules are silly. Throw them out the window.
Living that right now, because this is back into the dating world. So maybe this is like brand new to be like, what is,
because maybe when they dated before they did XYZ and now it's like so different, right?
But still, I think there's ways of knowing if someone's into you. They'll let you know.
It's true. And they did say, feel like you're falling for someone and expressing that, but they don't seem like they're catching on. So maybe that's different if they're not catching on to how you're expressing it. So I think I go back to being like,
communicate.
Clear is kind, or direct is kind. Be like, hey, I like you. And then see what happens. Get back to us on that.
Yeah.
Because I did have an idea that we should start a little morning meeting dating show. So you let us know if you want to be part of that.
Could you imagine?
To us. I think we'd be great. I think I'd be a good little matchmaker. I do. I think I have skills. I do.
Oh my God. I would just be cutthroat, like, go, get out of here. Like, we don't have time for you. Like, these women are better than you. Where's the one I was just going to say? Oh, this one's interesting. When I was reading these, I was like, are these directed at me?
I know.
Stop butting into other people's conversations and answering questions asked to someone else.
Ooh.
Because I do that.
Well,
like when I'm at school and someone's talking about something, I'll turn around and be like, like I'll partake in it because I'm like, I don't know, you're speaking in like a public place. You're not off in the corner.
Right.
So I will like sometimes partake in it. If I feel like I have something to give to the conversation, I will.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I know that I do that, but now I'm probably not gonna. Because what if it's about me? Like, what if someone in my class is like, stop doing that?
Well, at least you're aware.
They couldn't tell me. Oh, I'm aware of everything I do wrong. Yeah. 100%.
It's not wrong. You're just stop butting into other people's conversations and answering questions asked to someone else. So sometimes that is about perception too, right? Like, what's the intent? Are you trying to butt in, like take over the conversation? Right. Or do you just feel like you want to connect and relate and add something to the conversation? But how that looks to me looks different to someone else. So I might think that I'm trying to add to the conversation, but the other person might be like, why are you trying to monopolize? Right. Exactly. Very good. Yeah. Yeah. Good terminology there. I know a thing or two. I know. I'm just proud of you for saying monopolizing. I like you speaking my language. It's true. That is true though. So yeah, I think we can all, well, I like your rule that you shared last episode or 2 episodes ago about if there's X amount of people in the room. Yeah. Everyone gets shared amount of, So if it's like 2 people, then half the time you talk, half the time the other person. If there's 5, well, you have to cut that up. Like of the time. You don't take up 50% of that space because 4 other people need to share their what they have to say too. Right. That's fair. But that's the ADHD. Yeah, I know. We're gonna do a whole episode about that. Because it's impulse, right? It's impulse. Yeah. You just if I don't say the thought I'm thinking at that moment, it will leave. So I feel like I need to get it out. So I always have to have a pen and paper in meetings and write it down. That's why I have this here. Because that leaves, and then I'm like, no, I really needed to say that. Yeah. So I blurt. Things out. And I'm like, like I shouldn't have done that. So it goes back to that sender and receiver, right? Like that intentionality of like, we just got to give people a little bit of grace. Like, are they really trying to butt in and be rude and like monopolize an ego, or are they just doing the best with what they've got, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And here's another one back to the dating piece is like to ask, was it ever real to him?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I feel like if you have to ask that,
Right.
like if you have to ask someone if it was real,
Yeah.
it might not have been.
Like, was it a fever dream or were you living? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, was it a, yeah.
Like, was it ever real to you?
I don't know though. I think
don't know.
we think that because we've probably, well, I won't classify all my relationships the same way, but I was going to say we've had pretty like mature,
Yeah.
you know, but not totally actually. Depends how far back we go. I think maybe people have different capacities. I don't know. I think it's interesting. I don't know.
But that is like the basis of this, like something you've always wanted to say.
Yeah.
You know, like was it ever real?
Yeah. Because maybe that means like, do they feel like they got played? Like do
or
they
like,
mean like they
yeah.
just got,
Yeah,
like
maybe.
they were saying all the right things, but they never meant
Maybe.
it? Like were they just playing it
But
to
then-
get whatever outcome and then it wasn't real? Like, you know?
I also think
It's true.
that
That's
you get your
interesting.
answer to, so sometimes by saying something out loud, you get your answer.
In like an indirect way or like
Yeah.
from somewhere else?
Just like if I was to say something out loud and I hear it, I'm like,
you
oh.
give yourself the answer, you mean?
Yeah. Well,
Gotcha.
like if you just think about like when you say things out loud or even type them out, it's like, oh,
Right.
yeah, I know the answer to that. But you have
Right.
to say it, like
Yeah.
voice it.
Yeah.
So this person might have got their answer
Maybe.
already.
Maybe.
This is one. It made me sad to read, but I think it probably happens a lot in relationships. But this person says, I lost attraction for my partner, who even though is a fantastic partner, does not keep up with appearances and healthy lifestyles. I know that sounds shallow, but it also affects how my partner is able to interact and play with our children. It also majorly affects my stress level, as I often lie awake at night nervous that my partner will have a heart attack because of health reasons that can be easily prevented. I've had the combo about the stress and ability to play with our kids, and the hardest part is that no one else can change that except them, and that I feel jealous of others who are able to do certain things as a family that mine cannot simply do due to morbid obesity. That is really hard.
That is really hard.
Because you can't change the person.
Yeah, that's layered.
And like you can
Support, endorse, recognize, acknowledge, like all those things we've
but you
talked
can
about.
like lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But the
Yeah.
other side of that is it's a family unit. So to
Yeah.
me, it's like both parties should be working together to
Right.
support the family.
Right.
Like it's not just about the kid. I say that to Daniel all the time. Like when he's going out like with his friends that he does like once a year. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Simmons tournament, they go out and they like, I don't know if all men do this or not. I'm looking at you too.
Looking at the producers back there.
But like when they get together, it's like they go ham, and it's like
They get excited. Father's Day's coming up. It's gonna be.
Oh,
yeah.
you should see what's in the fridge
I
out there.
know,
It's
I
like a
know.
big box of vodka water, something or other that he's gonna. I'm like, Daniel, just don't even tell me. Just go. Anyway, he will get so drunk, and I'm like, just remember, you have a family at home. I don't want to be a single parent.
Right.
So can you please make healthy, like good choices tonight? Like,
Right.
please don't be so stupid that like you're gonna fall over in a ditch and die, and then I'm left a single parent. Like these are the things. So like that's just one silly example, but it is true that
But that
like
is where your mind goes.
You're a family unit. Like the both. Like if this partner is expressing to the other to say like, I'm worried about you. I'm concerned for your health. I'm concerned for your well-being. I'm concerned for our family.
Yeah.
That's really hard.
But it sounds like they're aware, right? If that conversation's happening, like
Yeah.
they know. Is that? I think I read that the wrong way when I first read it about the appearances piece, like keeping up with appearances, but they meant their own appearance.
Their own appearance.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
But it sounds like to me like this person is portraying this to the partner, and they're not doing anything about it.
Right.
That's what it sounds like.
And I think that can be hard, like when you know you need to make a change. I think we can relate to that in different ways, right? Like when you know you need to make a change to be healthier for you and your family, but like it's so hard to break habits, or it's so hard to know where to start. Or sometimes it's not just the physical piece, it's the mental piece too, of like you're getting your brain wrapped around that
Definitely.
and knowing where to start and feeling all the different emotions tied to that, right? Like it's probably fear, and underneath fear there's all these things, judgment, whatever it is. And it's like disappointment or not wanting to do it or guilt or all these things. It's like, how do you break that down? And I think you're right. Like you can't control what the other person's going to do, but I wonder if like the last half of that I think was about like being envious of what other families can do. And I wonder if in the meantime, it's like, if that comparison can stop in terms of those activities, but like, what's equitable for you? Like, what are the activities you can enjoy as a family, and like try and find ways that you can during the process, because like those changes are going to take time, I think, right? Like, how do you find a way that you can enjoy family time that's like healthy and feasible for like the whole unit, that can kind of satisfy some of those, like that longing for you, and then and also kind of support or encourage your partner to kind of take that responsibility on themselves to do that too. That's really hard.
Tough one.
Yeah, it's really hard. And that loss of attraction piece, like, again, I think this is a whole episode we could talk about, because I think that can happen.
I was just going to say, I think that
levels,
can come and go
it
too.
Can come and go
based on like,
I wonder if attraction, like, I wonder what the experts would say when it comes to feeling an attraction,
because I don't think just physical attraction, I think like emotional attraction too,
right?
Because someone could be very physically attractive, but emotionally they can't give you anything. So like, to me, that's like, well, I'm not attracted to you anymore, because it has nothing to do, like, they could have the whatever your type is, like if it's the abs and the whatever, like they have everything going for them, but they're human,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, I think it doesn't have to just be the physical aspect.
No, definitely.
I think it can teeter between.
Oh yeah, like I think you can be emotionally attracted to someone, intellectually attracted to someone, but that's why I go back to attraction. Similar, like we talk about this in the sporting world on that, like on Beyond the Ice, about motivation. How like you can't. It's not about motivation. It's about consistency, because motivation comes and goes.
Yeah,
and I think it's about is it attraction? Because I mean we love or devoted and dedicated and committed to our partners, but that doesn't mean we don't find other people attractive. Right. I think that would be unfair to say. Like, you are attracted to whatever it is.
We're humans.
But that doesn't mean you're going to act on that attraction. And I think maybe the reverse is true here. Like, you may have lost some attraction, but is it worth acting on? Like, can you get that back? Like, looking at what that means and how to kind of foster that.
You gotta examine that. That's tough.
That's a whole episode, I think. Talk about attraction.
Yeah. The Padlet was fun.
Yeah, it was. We should continue doing this.
I think we should do it again.
Do it every S&J session. Yeah. Get the Padlet
and like
going.
Next one, we'll have to ask a different question, right? Yeah. Because we can ask anything. Because yeah,
exactly. I love it. One more.
Okay.
End it off. Okay. We're getting our cue. This last one was, and I think this is an important one to talk about, and I think we can kind of say that we're going to have some episodes coming up that are going to speak to this a little bit.
Yeah.
So a little prelude to what's ahead of us.
What's to come.
But it says, I don't feel like I have a village when it comes to raising kids. I don't feel supported in my parenting decisions. I always feel judged and ridiculed no matter who I try to please. Oh. And that's so hard.
That is hard.
Because we get that from every angle. I mean, I just said it to someone the other day, like, lean into your village, trust your village. But like, I'm coming from a place of privilege who has a village that I can lean on. But the end of that got me. So it said, I always feel judged and ridiculed no matter who I try to please. Stop trying to please them. You have to make decisions for you and your family. And like, don't worry about what that means, because your people will find you. Like, if you're staying true and authentic to yourself and your family unit, like, people will find you.
People have like, we are very lucky in that we didn't experience this, but people have like terrible experiences with their in-laws.
I know. That's hard.
Like, I have heard some terrible circumstances where like, I just can't relate. Like, I luckily had great, like, Daniel's parents were incredible. Like, I know you're the same with like Pat's parents, but
Pat's
like
mom's like one of my best friends.
Right. Yeah. But not all. So it's so like interesting to think that like people do feel like they have to base their family decisions off of like the large family unit, not just their inner one, which is really sad. That sucks.
That comes to that reparenting, which we'll talk about in the future with one of our upcoming guests. But it's also about like, you have to be okay with parenting different. Like, I think I make a lot of parenting decisions despite how I was parented, or like in contrast to how I was parenting or whatever.
And thank God for that. I always say like, my God.
Some of it is the same, where I'm influenced by it, but a lot of it, I think I do it differently too. Yeah. I also will say, like, I think your village can be a community that you build. Like,
it doesn't have
we're
to
happy
just
to be in your village. Lean on us.
Yeah,
but it doesn't just have to be that family unit.
Like the nuclear family of like a mom, a dad, a boy, a girl, whatever. That's not a thing anymore. Like, what constitutes a family is what you say that it is.
It's the connection and the relationship.
Yeah, it could be a group of friends that you say is a family. It could be your partner and your kids, whatever. Like, it's like, we live in a world now where we get to change the norms. Yeah. And sometimes that's hard.
Redefine those.
Because it's easy to just be like, okay, society, tell me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what to fit into, what norm to fit into. But you can just make your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think look inward, like don't try and please those people.
No.
Lean into the people who support you. We'll do that. All right. Always a great time to chat with you.
That went by
we have to go celebrate your birthday.
Too quick.
I know, it always
but I'm
does.
excited.
It always does. Thank God we have someone keeping us on time here.
I love this
I know you
for
do.
me.
This is your favorite.
I love this.
Because it's not you. You're usually the one.
The time checker. And you don't listen.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm doing better. I'm trying to do better as I continue talking here. Okay. A fun topic that I want to talk about on an upcoming session, and we'll definitely have to post about this because I'm curious to know, and I'm going to look at these guys when I say it because maybe they feel this way. I don't know. We're going to talk about the inner dialogue. Do you know that some people don't have an inner dialogue?
What? No way.
Like the thoughts in your brain. Like my thoughts in my brain are going all day long. You guys, you have that? Okay. Whew. Some people don't have that.
Mine are scary.
They don't hear themselves think. They don't hear themselves talk in their brain. They're not talking. That inner dialogue or inner monologue is not there.
What a gift.
But they see in like pictures or like, I was watching something the other day and she was like, my sentences go in, like I see the sentence, the shape of a sentence. And I'm like, what? So people aren't listening to themselves talk to themselves all day long.
Okay, well, what a gift that must be.
I know. We have to talk about that coming up.
Whew,
I know.
I wish I could shut my mind off for a time or two.
If anyone out there doesn't have an inner dialogue or monologue, you got to let us know. Reach out. We want to get you on the pod. We have questions. We got to sit you down. If they even exist. I'm not even sure. All right.
I love you.
A pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I'm excited for what the year is going to bring. It's going to be great. I'm very proud of you.
Here's hoping.
You're making 34 look great.
Thanks.
It's going to be a wonderful year. Good things to come. We're going to go celebrate now.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks for joining us. Bye.